Well, famed racing driver and adventurous Gugu Zulu has tragically passed away. The Nelson Mandela Foundation has confirmed that Zulu had died after experiencing breathing problems whilst mounting Kilimanjaro. The expedition is part of the Track for Mandela project to raise funds for underprivileged children. He leaves behind his wife and baby girl.
The physical adaptation is not that critical in the sense that you don't need to be able to run a marathon in 3 hours or be particularly strong, but the complication is a physiological one, and that requires time and adaptation. So I think a lot of people, they do a lot of training back home, but one thing you can't train for is altitude and the physiological stress. And so you really just have to have a conservative approach and try and mitigate that stress. But that's the nature of climbing mountains. You can have a small bug, a small little infection you don't know about, and altitude can complicate that. So yeah, it's a tricky exercise.
We don't have many details at this stage. All we know is that he was trying to summit yesterday and he was having problems with his breathing when he was put onto a drip. He then descended the mountain with his wife, and the medical team tried to do all they could to save his life, but unfortunately we lost Gugu this morning. Look, obviously today is Mandela Day, so it's a very sad way to celebrate Mandela Day. He was trying to raise funding to support girl children at schools because the track raises money for girls to provide them with sanitary towels. So that was the cause that he was committed to, and a cause that he was trying to support through Mandela Day.
It really came as a complete shock because, it's almost like Michael Schumacher. He's faced so many dangers racing rally cars and race cars, and then an incident like this and doing something so noble to have passed away on. I mean, it just the whole motorsport fraternity in South Africa this morning is rocked by this devastating news, particularly because Gugu is such a likable and competitive person. I had the privilege of sitting in the co-driver's seat as his navigator when he first came into rallying, and somebody more enthusiastic, more positive and more confident. And you know what his whole ethos was, that you can achieve anything you set your mind to, and I think that's going to be the legacy for Gugu for a lot of people. He wasn't only successful in motor racing, but successful as a father to his new 1-year-old daughter, whom he posted such loving comments on social media, and then cycling, adventure sports, everything. He was just one of those guys, larger than life, did huge television commentary. He's going to leave a massive gaping hole in sport and in motorsport in South Africa.
Well, just 2 days back, Gugu Zulu had posted on Instagram that he is struggling with the mountains as he was suffering from flu. Made it though to day 2. My wife is doing fabulous. She has even learnt the local language. I'm having flu-like symptoms and struggling with the mountain, but taking it step by step. Today we managed to see our destination, and our camp is literally above the clouds. Let's have a look at some tributes and reaction on social media. At Level Lukewarm says, RIP, you passed away on Mountain Kilimanjaro. You were an inspiration to many. At Gladys_Sitole says, oh my word, the story can't be real. I saw a post with him and his wife just yesterday. At Cycling Direct SA, terrible news coming from the Nelson Mandela Foundation. Racing driver and at Cape epic finisher Gugu Zulu has died whilst summiting Kilimanjaro. Adrian Ibrahim says, RIP Gugu Zulu, a gentleman, family man and one hell of a driver. What a tragedy. And Sensei Tumi says, you certainly inspired most of us. May your soul rest in peace. And at Elton Davids 25 says, such a huge racing talent, top class young man. He will be missed. NN7 recently spoke to Gugu. Let's have a listen.
Yeah, look, I think, looking back in history, my first experience of climbing was back in January. I think it was 1999 when I was actually racing in the sports car series, Isondo Racing Development team in the Sports 2000. And I think for me, the track at the time was just the most amazing circuit. It was the best circuit that you could have in South Africa. It had a lot of undulations, and the fact that the corners were so fast, actually scary at times. You'd come into a corner thinking, I should be in 4th gear and I should be flat, but naturally your foot would be just saying, hey dude, but your racing instinct comes into play, and you just have to trust the car that it will actually go through the corner without actually letting go. And I think that just comes with practice as well, because at first it's your first time you're riding on this track. The track is constantly changing either left or right, and it's going up and down, so there's a lot to take in and a lot to learn. So from a first time experience, it is daunting. One of the challenges that I actually faced was that you make one mistake in one corner, it actually affects the entire lap on its own. So you needed to really get it right from the word go, and and with time I was able to actually perfect that, and hence we managed to win my championship in 2000 in the sports car series. And of course Kyalami was one of the grounds and the races that actually kind of put me on the pedestal that I needed to be in to move into the career. Looking back to when I started initially, certainly you didn't know of any black faces actually racing at Kyalami besides Philip Kekani, who was one of the first black drivers in South Africa. And I think for me that also kind of gave me that kind of belief that, hey, it is possible no matter what, no matter where you're coming from, you can still make it happen. Here's Philip, who was an undertaker driver and a taxi driver at one stage, and now he's racing at Kyalami. And we used to be able to see that, I think it was live TV on a Saturday afternoon, and you could hear there's Philip Kekani and he's racing at Kyalami. That was just like, hey, come on. And we're talking mid-90s, and I had to believe in myself that I can make it, and hence I actually pushed and found a way to get involved in motorsports. And thankfully here I am today, standing in front of you talking about it. But I think as a people, as a generation, and as South Africans, we've certainly moved forward. You do have a lot of kids of color that are coming in, particularly in the karting scenes, but the progress and the inclusion is very slow, which is unfortunate. It is sad that it's been almost 14 years I've been involved in motorsports, and it's only me that's still standing. What happened to the other Gugu Zulus? What happened to the Philip Kekanes? What happened to Chop Sipuka? What happened to the other guys, that were also involved in the development programs, but they've kind of disappeared out of the scene? But in the end, it all boils down to sponsorship. It all boils down to support. And if there's not enough support, of course, you won't be able to see the numbers. But I think we've seen also a change in terms of bikers. In particular, black bikers getting onto motorbikes, and they've come to Kyalami for track days. And I think that just shows that there is a bit of progress in that department, and more people are interested, particularly those of color, into motorsport. It's just the challenges of getting into it.